Hi, so today is the day 3 of the 21-day self-esteem series video that I'm doing. And today, I want to specifically talk about the why behind having an unhealthy self-esteem, or why is it that your relationship with yourself is an unhealthy one, or why is it that you lack self-love. So before diving deep into it, I just want to tell you that yesterday it was all about identifying if you have an unhealthy self-esteem or not. So yesterday I basically listed out some of the things that happen with you or that you experience or that you feel within when you have an unhealthy self-esteem. So now you know if you have an unhealthy self-esteem or not, or what is the intensity of it. So today our agenda is to find out uh, why is it that I have an unhealthy self-esteem, and this is a very good question to have an answer to, and I will tell you shortly about it. Why is it something that you should know about? So before I go into that detail, first is I want to make it clear that when I talk about when I say the term self-esteem, I basically mean I also mean your relationship with yourself. And when I say your relationship with yourself, and when we are specifically talking about having an unhealthy self-esteem, it is nothing but also lack of self-love. So all these three things are very correlated. I wanted to make it clear because uh, these three things are these three terms are something that I often uh, like I often use one or the other in exchange of them. And so just so that you don't confuse between, because all these three things refer to the same thing. Because the kind of self esteem is nothing but the kind of self image you have of yourself. And जिस तरीके से आप अपने आप को देखते हो, you treat yourself that way. So if you don't like yourself, if you don't see yourself in a if you don't respect yourself, you're not going to have a healthy relationship with yourself. You're not going to treat yourself that way. So this your self esteem also determines the kind of relationship you have with yourself. And when you have an unhealthy relationship with yourself, that simply means that you lack self love. Because the entire point of having a foundation of self love is so that you can have a beautiful relationship with your own self, so that you have a supportive inner voice, so that you're not very critical of yourself, right? So that the way you approach life, how you live life on daily basis, kind of improves, is a healthier one. Okay, so coming back to the main topic, understanding why do you have an unhealthy self-esteem. So let's first understand why it is important to know this thing, or why you should know this. See, what happens is, uh, बहुत बार क्या होता है कि when we have an unhealthy self-esteem, it's already that we already are feeling a certain way about ourselves constantly. It's like a constant state of mind. Yeah, if it's a constant state that we are in, which is actually uncomfortable, feeling uncomfortable in your body. Yeah, feel you are fighting a battle within your own self. So एक having a critical voice जो हमेशा तुम्हें criticize कर रहा है, always questioning yourself की, always calling, I mean, something that's against you. So I mean, you're already in that state. अब इसमें क्या होता है, when you are this way, you're already frustrated with your own self. Sometimes you want to just get rid of your body. Sometimes you wish that I wish I was not this person. Oh, I wish I was better. I looked this way. या फिर I wish I was as good as that person. All of these things are happening with you. So इस इतना, I mean, when you are so used to of criticization, of often times क्या होता है कि हम कभी कभी खुद को इसके लिए भी criticize करने लगते हैं कि why am I this way, why do I feel this way, ये सब क्यों हो रहा है मेरे साथ. I mean, uh, why do I feel so unworthy, या फिर why is this, why do I have such a critical inner voice, क्योंकि हम खुद से ही लड़ रहे हैं अंदर अंदर. So sometimes we start criticizing ourselves for even having an unhealthy self esteem, or having an unhealthy relationship with ourselves. And that is not good, because as long as you stay stuck in this loop कि unhealthy self esteem है, उस पर भी मैं खुद को criticize कर रही हूँ, so you're not, so ये loop है, I mean, you're stuck at some place. So to find an out, to actually escape out of this loop, the first thing that you need to do is you need to understand yourself. You need to find out why is it that I have an unhealthy self esteem, why it's important. It helps you understand yourself. आप खुद को समझते हो. And trust me, जब तक आप खुद को नहीं समझोगे, if you are not ready or willing to understand yourself, please stop expecting कि कोई और तुम्हें समझेगा, या फिर somebody else will come, they will understand you, they will be kind towards you, they will respect you, they will love you. No, अगर आप खुद को नहीं समझने की कोशिश करोगे तो कोई और नहीं करेगा कभी. सिंपल सी बात है. So this is important because it helps you understand yourself better. It helps you get rid of that comparison. हम बहुत बार comparison करने लगते हैं कि यार वो इंसान का कितना sorted life है. They just seem to be, I mean, having everything good in their life, and here I am battling with myself. I do not even like myself. इसकी वजह से I'm limiting myself from so many things. I'm not able to pursue what I want to pursue. I do not have a relationship where I feel worthy of, or where I feel loved. हम ये सब क्वेश्चन करते, सो वी ऑल्सो गेट रिड ऑफ दिस कंपेरिजन. हम अपने को कंपेयर करना बंद कर देते हैं, बिकॉज नाउ वी अंडरस्टैंड आवरसेल्व्स दैट व्हाई एम आई दिस वे. And when we understand yourself, that is when acceptance happen, and when acceptance happen, that is when you start to take steps that will actually change things for you, that will actually lead you to having a healthy relationship, healthy and loving relationship with yourself. So this is very much important, because it will also help you stop blaming yourself for being a certain way, for having an unhealthy relationship with yourself. So these were the points why I believe it's very important to know why you are the way you are, or why do you have something. So coming to the next topic, which is about, so now see, if I go into the details, because we are all different, the kind of life you have lived, and the kind of life I have lived, and the kind of life any third person has lived, are going to be very different. All right, so we can't go into the details of it, ki what has led you to have an unhealthy self-esteem exactly. That is something for you to find out, for you to know, for you to reflect back in your past and know that okay, ये सब चीज हुआ था, and I think that is why I felt this way, या फिर इसकी वजह से मेरे को ऐसा फील होता है. That is for you to do. In general speaking, all right, the main reason why one develops an unhealthy self-esteem is uh, because they have had a childhood where they did not feel good enough, where they did not feel loved, accepted, and approved enough. So all of it goes back to your childhood. Of childhood mein, there could be very different experiences that can count. For some people, it could be bullying. For some people, it could be just having a critical parent, and critical parent. For some, it could be just that they were not encouraged for making mistakes. Rather, if any mistake was taken very seriously and they were punished for it. All right, and it could be also, it could just be you not feeling safe enough while growing up, or you not feeling that I have a space to be myself, to speak what I want to just be myself. So when you do not feel safe enough growing up, that you know what, I can be myself, or this is who I am, rather, uh, you grow up having kind of traumatic experiences. Honestly speaking, when there are experiences that actually makes you feel scared, or it just doesn't let you grow as a person, or just let you explore yourself fully. That is when growth stops, and you end up developing a self-esteem that's hampered. That is, your identity gets affected. The kind of identity you develop while growing up, it gets affected. It is not a very healthy one. All right. Okay. So 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 uh, like generally speaking, anybody who has an unhealthy self-esteem, I would invite you to actually reflect back into your childhood, and you will be able to find out a lot of things, that okay, I understand why do I feel this way, or why I feel so scared, or why I feel that my body is not good enough. You will have your own experiences, your own recount of memories कि हाँ ये होता था. People, my classmates used to laugh at me, or I never felt accepted in my own group circle, या फिर मेरे फैमिली में I was very, my parents were critical to me, या फिर you will have your memories कि हाँ ये हुआ था, I remember this. So this is the core reason of developing an unhealthy self-esteem. That said, it is not that we are here to look at our past, or to feel like I was wronged, मेरे साथ गलत हुआ है, and make it that the complete story. That is not the point. That is not the point of going back and understanding that why do I have an unhealthy self-esteem. The motive is to, so that you understand yourself. You stop criticizing yourself. You stop blaming yourself. कि मैं ऐसी क्यों हूँ, मेरे साथ क्यों है. Now you know the reason. Why why do you feel a certain way, or why is it that you don't feel comfortable enough? Why you don't feel confident in yourself? Because when you were growing up, you never felt that. You never had an evidence for feeling कि हाँ I'm good enough, जो भी हूँ सही हूँ. So you never had that experience. So entire point is कि you can actually, uh, instead of criticizing yourself, blaming yourself, you can also offer yourself the kindness that I get you, I understand why you are the way you are. And honestly speaking, if there was some other person, somebody who you care about, and if they were in the same space as you, if they went through what you went through in your childhood, could be anything, being feeling neglected, or not being accepted in your circle, or just not feeling seen or heard in your own home. And if they were in this place, tell me, if they were now as an adult, like just like you are, would you criticize them? Would you blame them कि सब तुम्हारी गलती, तुम ऐसी क्यों हो, तुम कितनी अजीब क्यों हो ऐसे? No, you would not, because you care for that person. you would offer them kindness, ki, because you know their story, right? So similarly, I want you to look at your story and acknowledge it. To instead of turning a blind eye to all the causes or to all the things that have happened that have led you to be where you are or how to be the way you are, I want you to look at it, acknowledge it, and rather offer yourself the kindness and compassion that I get you, I see you. And always remember, the first person from who you need to receive the love and respect and compassion has to be you. Because even if I give it to you and you do not have it yourself, or you do not think that I deserve it, it's going in waste. It's going nowhere. It will make you feel good for 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 minutes. After that, it doesn't make any sense unless it comes from you. That's the power you hold. That's the power your your love towards yourself holds. That is why self love is so important, because that is the only kind of love that matters. Okay, so because your self love decides the capacity of love that you can receive from outside also. All right, so yeah, so I was on self esteem. All right, so self esteem या फिर कह लो identity या फिर कह लो the kind of self image you have, we develop all of these things while we grow up in our childhood. All right, so let's take two people. All right, person A and person B. Suppose person B has an unhealthy self esteem and person A, they have a healthy relationship with themselves. Now, when you will look back in their past, in their childhood, you will notice that this person A has kind of a safe environment. So they were brought up in an environment they felt safe in, they felt heard, they could express themselves, they could put up their opinions, and none of it was taken very, critically or harshly. They were encouraged to make mistakes. So basically, they developed. So the feedback that they got from the environment was कि मैं सही हूँ, I am an individual. My opinion matters. What I have to say matters, and I'm loved and I'm respected. I'm approved. I have the validation of my parents, and that's all that matters. But when you will go to the past or to the childhood of this person B, you will see that this person did not feel safe growing up. They did not feel that their opinion mattered, or whatever they had to say was right, or could be even taken well in a good manner, in a safe environment. They did not feel safe growing up, basically. Or either they were criticized, or they did not feel love, or they felt neglected, and all of these things. So now, as a grown up, both of them both of them have starkly different identities that they hold, different kind of self beliefs. Now, whereas person A will feel ki my voice matters, I can do anything, like it's all right. But at the same time, person B will have a kind of an identity where they don't feel much empowered about themselves. Yeah, they have kind of limiting self beliefs. Ki, my voice doesn't matter. I'm not good enough. I make a lot of mistakes, because now they have a very strong belief that mistakes are wrong. Making mistake is a wrong thing, so they're going to avoid making mistakes. Obviously, maybe when they start avoiding making mistakes, they actually avoid a lot of opportunities in their life. This is a complete different segment. I'm going to take it up in some other days. Making mistakes and fear of making mistakes and how it impacts your life. So this is how two people with different past develop into to be two different person with two different personalities. Now you can say that, oh, I wish I had a different kind of childhood. I wish I had a different kind of past. तो ये सब होता ही नहीं. I would have been so much confident as in. See, past has happened. You did not have any control over it. जो हुआ हुआ. Right now, as an adult, you have the power. And instead of dwelling on your past and just wishing, and we all do that, all right? It's not that I'm not saying ki you are being very inhuman or you're being any less when you do that. It's all right. It happens sometimes. We wish ki agar aisa nahi hota to I would have been so better. But see, understand it this way also. Life is about having some obstacles and then you having to evolve out of it, to grow out of it, to work on it. Maybe this is the obstacle that you have in your life, and maybe other people, the person A that you see, they will have different obstacles in their life, and so they are going to evolve by working on those things. So how about we come back to our life, come back to our reality? Okay, this is something that has happened to me, and this is my thing, my obstacle to overcome, my obstacle to work upon. So look at it that way. See, the way we look things, the way, or how we choose to look at things changes everything. It changes our attitude towards it. It changes the way we approach life. So this is a way to look at it, all right? And the whole point of understanding why do you have an unhealthy relationship with yourself is to have compassion for yourself, have acceptance for what has happened, so that you can move out of it, so that you can begin to take the first step. Okay. So just to point out, just to list out the things, or just to list out some factors that can be, your reason of having an unhealthy self-esteem as an adult, is first is when you felt when you were criticized frequently as a child. Second, when you were punished for making mistakes. Making mistake was a very big thing, कोई भी गलती कर दो तो it's a very huge thing. So because इससे क्या होता है, you start fearing making mistakes. Third is just not feeling being heard, या फिर my voice matters, वो feel नहीं होता. So you grow up feeling कि my voice doesn't matter, or my voice doesn't matter, my opinions doesn't matter. You lose your individuality, that I am someone. What I think, how I think matters. It deserves to be put out there. All of these things, and definitely it affects your confidence. Because what is confidence? Confidence at the end of the day is accepting yourself and being okay even with being wrong or making mistakes. Being okay with expressing yourself as you are, without the fear ki how will I be taken as, without the fear of judgment. And another reason that you may have that a person may have an unhealthy self-esteem is being bullied, for several reasons, for maybe the kind of body you have, for looking a certain way, for talking a certain way, for anything. Overall, you develop a you develop a disempowered self-image of yourself, or a negative self-image of yourself, when you do not feel safe growing up. Because that is when because that is when you kind of start developing a lot of limiting self-beliefs about your own self, ki I'm not good enough, or all of these things. All right. Okay. So now what happens when we grow up this way? So now, when we have had a certain kind of childhood, when we grow into an adult, what happens is ki we grow up with a lot of fears, with a lot of limiting beliefs, with a lot of we basically grow up with an identity that's not helping us anymore. That's not actually serving us. That's limiting us more. So we grow up with it. So we actually lose our confidence in the process, and we so as an adult we are still carrying the same beliefs that we adopted as a child. And and as a result of this, we also face a lot of problems in our life. We feel stuck at a lot of places. And if you will if you actually start to go deep into the deep root causes of every problem or stuckness you are facing in life, it will all come down to a kind of self-belief. And a very simple example could be, suppose public speaking, and I know a lot of us have that fear of public speaking. All right. So if we go deep into it, ki why is it that just you fear public speaking, or why is it that's a big thing for you to just present just talk to somebody or initiate a conversation? It will come down to कि oh, I don't feel good enough in myself, या फिर डर लगता है, या फिर I don't know how other person will perceive me, am I good enough, is it good or not. So all of these limiting beliefs will be at the play of that problem or stuckness. So when you actually grow up with an identity wherein you have a lot of limiting self beliefs, a lot of destructive and limiting ideas about the world, कि making mistake तो गलत होता है, perfect ही होना चाहिए हमेशा, there is no room for mistake. When you grow up with all of these beliefs, you actually put yourself out of a lot of opportunities. मतलब आप अपने आप को बहुत चीज़ों से you cut yourself off. आप ही अपने आप को अलाउ नहीं कर पा रहे होते हो. That is what happens. So you end up feeling limited, you lose confidence in yourself, and you don't believe in yourself enough. Definitely. Okay. And as I said, when all of these things are happening, as an adult, कि बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम आते हैं, स्टकनेस आते हैं, हम लोग क्या करने लगते हैं, we start blaming ourselves कि मेरे साथ ही हो रहा है ऐसा है, मेरे को तो डर क्यों लगता है, why am I so scared, सब कर सकते हैं, सब कर लेते हैं, मैं क्यों नहीं कर सकता. All of these things happen. So we start blaming ourselves. And that is the main agenda of today's this video. You will stop blaming yourself, you understand yourself, you acknowledge yourself. Because see, if you have to get out of something, if you have to take yourself out of this place and be at a better place, सबसे पहले आप ही को अपना हाथ पकड़ना होगा कि okay, let's get out of here. So to do that, you need to understand yourself. Alright, you can't keep blaming yourself and thinking कि निकल जाएंगे एक दिन. ऐसा नहीं होता है. You need to take yourself out of there. So the thing is that blaming yourself doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody. Alright, you're just playing in a circle. So what I invite you to do is, I invite you to accept your story, acknowledge it, accept it. Alright, it is what it is. Accept it, and then you can work on it to change it, to get a better place. And you can always work on it to change it, trust me. Because when it comes to childhood, when it comes to having an unhealthy childhood, or having toxic experiences or traumatic experiences in a child in childhood, it happens to a lot of us. If you go to the statistics of having dysfunctional family system, you will find out that a lot of us actually grow up in dysfunctional family setup. So you're not the only one. A lot of people you see, they come from the same space, but they have evolved out of it. So it's definitely possible to evolve out of anything, any problem that you're facing. All right, be it the constant state of I am not enough, of the constant state of कि मुझे comfort, I don't like being in this body, and all of those stuff. So you can always evolve out of it. All right, so whatever has happened, it's in the past. Acknowledge it, accept it, be understanding towards yourself, offer yourself compassion so that you can look at yourself through kindness and compassion. And then you get to choose for yourself, how do I want to approach life from here? Do I want to live while criticizing myself, or do I want to live or do I want to live a life where I love myself, where I have an understanding about myself, where I support myself, where I offer compassion to myself? The choice lies in your hand, and the first step towards that is to acknowledge your story, to be in your own body, to look at yourself from a lens of kindness, to offer yourself the kindness, to be with yourself. Okay, so I think that was the main agenda of today's video. And yeah, so tomorrow is the day 4, and I will come up with another topic, and we'll explore another depth. And yeah, so how you are finding the series, you can always tell me in my WhatsApp DM. And if you want to book a one-on-one clarity call, you can book your call. We'll have the link in the about section of my community self-love space. And yeah, I am a coach who helps people develop a healthy relationship with themselves and develop a deep foundation of self-love. That is the work I do. If this is something you want, you can always book your clarity call with me. Okay, so I'll meet you tomorrow. Bye bye.